Konnichiwa minasan, it is I, ErikaKlash, coming to you all the way from my home studio here in New York City. And today I am bringing you a Sailor Moon Eternal, the movie, hype train slash trailer breakdown slash my hopes and dreams for. So for those of you that know my drag, you know that I have been a huge Sailor Moon fan for most of my life. I started watching the original dub of the anime back when I was in school as a school kid, kindergarten, first grade. And it wasn't actually until college that I really rediscovered Sailor Moon. Viz Media did a whole redubbing of the original anime, and they removed a lot of the censorship issues that the original dubbing had. And over quarantine this year, I watched a ton of Sailor Moon. Now, this video will contain some spoilers for the first 3 seasons of Sailor Moon Crystal. I will, however, be actively avoiding spoilers for the Dream arc and the Stars arc of the manga as much as possible. However, if you are really looking to go in blind into the movie, then I would suggest fully not looking at any of the other trailers or any promotional material and steering clear of this video until you've seen the film. And just so the copyright gods out there know, I am going to be linking to all of my sources in the description. This video is really meant to have a discussion with my audience about the content, not to reproduce the content on its own. So if you are interested in checking out the trailer, the poster, the song that goes with the movie, check out those links in the description. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into it. So Sailor Moon Eternal, the movie, is a continuation of Sailor Moon Crystal. Sailor Moon Crystal ran for 3 seasons. The last of those 3 seasons premiered in the spring of 2015. So it's been a long while since we've seen a continuation of this newest Sailor Moon adaptation. Now, Sailor Moon Crystal is meant to be much closer to the manga as opposed to the 90s anime. The 90s anime was put together alongside the original comics, and therefore there were creative licenses made between the 2 different teams that were working on each individual story. While I did enjoy the Dream arc of the original anime, because they had to stall a lot in order to wait for manga chapters to be released, there was a lot of filler in that particular arc, in that particular season. They did sort of redeem it a little bit in the first few episodes of Sailor Stars, but compared to the manga, I would say season 4 of the original anime was really lackluster. So Sailor Moon Eternal, the movie, is going to be releasing in 2 parts. It's a 2-part anime film. The first part is going to be released on January 8th, 2021, and part 2 will be releasing February 11th, 2021. Now, these are Japan release dates. We don't quite have confirmation yet on where the movies are going to premiere or be released internationally. There is speculation going on that Netflix is dubbing in several different languages. However, Hulu is the platform on which you can stream the original 90s anime as well as Sailor Moon Crystal here in the United States. So it really is anyone's guess as far as what's going to happen. Of course, Japan is in a position where they are able to have cinemas open again. So things are looking really promising, especially if it does get a really wide release internationally. This could be a breakthrough moment for Sailor Moon. Let's hope and pray. So the first thing that we're going to look at today is the poster for Sailor Moon Eternal, the movie, Part 1. Now, this poster heavily features Nehelenia, who's the primary antagonist of the Dream arc, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. For those of you that have read the manga, you know that the art style has this sort of very dreamy watercolor style to it. Any of the color illustrations that Naoko Takeuchi does for the manga, this sort of watercolor, sort of dreamlike art style there. So I think this is really beautiful. One of my favorite things about Nehelenia is that she is sort of like a mirror image of Queen Serenity, or of Neo Queen Serenity, and that really comes forward when you realize that she is a demoness kind of thing that lives in mirrors. This poster captures it beautifully. Usagi looks absolutely beautiful. We see her in her Super Sailor Moon form, and we have Nehelenia just being a shady bitch. The hair, as usual, is gorgeous. I'm living for this poster. And now that we've taken a look at the poster, I'm actually going to pull up the trailer that just dropped a few weeks ago. I'm going to do a little bit of a live react. I've seen the trailer before, but I am going to watch it on my screen right now, and that way I can kind of pick out a few different details that I want to show you. Let's see if I can see with this eye patch, because, I couldn't be bothered to paint my second eye today. So the first thing we notice is the eclipse. Now, if you watch Sailor Moon Crystal Season 3, you'll know that it ends with Usagi and Ko watching out for a solar eclipse. So the very end of that episode directly leads into this dream arc. The dark side of the moon and the sort of eclipse will be a running theme in the film. We also see Sailor Chibi Moon, aka Usagi Jr., looking into Neptune's deep aqua mirror. Now, spoiler alert, at the very end of the third season of Sailor Moon Crystal, Sailor Neptune gives Sailor Chibi Moon the deep aqua mirror as a token of their friendship and as a gesture of goodwill and, we are always with you even though we're not physically with you. I really love that detail, that sense of the outer senshis being sort of off in the distance, but their memory lingering. So I think that's really beautiful. We do get a little tiny sneak peek into the inner senshis transformations into their super sailor soldier forms. In the manga chapters, we get one chapter that sort of spotlights each of the inner senshi, and this arc is going to be no exception. We really get a sense of each of these characters and what their hopes and dreams are for their future. And we also get to meet their Sailor Power Guardians. And then we get to see Helios. Helios is absolutely gorgeous looking in this. You get to see a little bit of Pegasus. So we just got a glimpse of Zirconia and Nehelenia. And Nehelenia looks absolutely gorgeous. Like, she is definitely going to be a contender for the most glamorous Sailor Moon villain out there when we do get to do that video. Wow, overall I think it was a really beautiful trailer. We get a lot of little details in there. The art style of this film really seems to be following the trend that we've seen since the beginning of Sailor Moon Crystal. The first two seasons of Sailor Moon Crystal looked very, very much like the manga. So much so that it kind of put off certain fans. The third season of Sailor Moon Crystal kind of inched a little bit more towards the 90s anime. This one seems to do it a little bit more as well. I really see a lot of manga influences when we look at some of the still art, like the poster, for example. And I also really see it in the eyes. There is a big difference, at least for me, in the eye shape in the manga versus in the 90s anime. This trailer only covers part 1. So we can speculate a little bit about how they're going to divide this entire story arc into 2 films. I also must say the song Chainon by Momoiro Clover Z, who's done all the prior music for Sailor Moon Crystal, is absolutely beautiful. This arc, I think, is like a fairy tale, and there's a fantastic quality that we haven't really seen in the series since the first story arc, so I really think that the song captures it very well. Kazuko Tadano, who was the character designer for 2 seasons of the original anime, the character designer for the Sailor Moon R the movie, the very first ever Sailor Moon feature-length movie, is part of the team for this film as well. So I can see where we're going to get some of those 90s anime influences in there. So the question, of course, now that we've seen the trailer, is how will these manga chapters break down? Sailor Moon Crystal is pretty much a one-to-one adaptation of the manga, so much so that the episodes of Crystal are named by the chapter that they correspond to in the manga. So if we look at our handy-dandy manga, we can see that the first 5 chapters are each are sort of spotlight chapters for the inner senshi. And it isn't until chapter 6 that we get to be reintroduced to the outer senshi. Now the outer senshi, as you know, are Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, and Saturn. The end of chapter 5 is kind of a cliffhanger, and then we go into chapter 6. So it really is a question of where in there are they going to kind of put the demarcation line. And if I had to take a wild guess, I would say it's either going to be, they're going to leave it at a cliffhanger with Venus and sort of just hint at the outer senshi at the very, very tail end of the film, or they will leave Venus at her cliffhanger and we will get the first little bit of chapter 6. If it were up to me, I would have the first film cover the first 6 chapters and then have the second part of the film dive straight into chapter 7, which is one of my favorite chapters of the entire manga. It's one of my favorite moments in all of Sailor Moon, and I think it would just be a super badass way to start off the second film. But we'll see. So, if you are interested in getting into the Sailor Moon manga, I highly, highly recommend it. I, during quarantine, have really, really enjoyed curling up in bed with my copies of the Sailor Moon manga. This is the Eternal Edition. This is the definitive version of the manga that has been coming out for most of this year. I picked this up over the summer on rightstuff.com, so they are available on Amazon as well. However, if you do want to buy from somewhere else, I would highly recommend Right Stuff. The illustrations in this book are gorgeous, and they're much larger than your typical manga book. So we get huge, as I said, high quality illustrations, and just everything is a lot bigger, so you can really zoom in on each individual panel. And the artwork in this is absolutely breathtaking. Most of the manga, of course, is in sort of black and white, but there are several high quality illustrations in here as well, which are in full color. Now, just to give you a little bit of a comparison, I would say, these are probably a little bit more pricey. So if you're interested in, being a full-fledged Moonie and you're a fanatic and you want to get into it fully, I would recommend this. However, these editions from Kodansha Comics, originally published in the aughts, but they've been kind of re-released over the last couple years. These are also a great option, and as you can see, they're not quite as big as the Eternal Edition, but you do still get your full color animations at the beginning of your chapters there. If you are the kind of person that loves to get into the mythology of Sailor Moon and all of the sort of inner details of this universe, the manga is a great place to start. And now that we are gearing up for the new movie, this would be a great time for you to brush up on that particular arc of the manga. So folks, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe. And we have lots more Sailor Moon content coming for you. In Nerd Alert Season 2, we are going to be doing lots of Sailor Moon topics. Myself, Crimson Kitty, and Kai Michaels have several ideas for Sailor Moon topics. If there are any particular topics you'd like us to cover on Nerd Alert, or if you'd like more of these videos, sort of news and update videos from me, please let me know in the comments. And I'll be sure to make a note of your suggestions there. Alrighty, everybody, have a safe rest of your holiday season, and mwah, I will see you next time.